Yo, what is up everybody? Today I'm going to bring you guys a new video, more of a follow-up to my last video, which is funny because in my last video I expected it to be something different today because I really wanted to do something more positive because I know I did do a Marvel TOKON video last time and I think I do need to do a follow-up on it just to clear up some things, but also just to fix some of my mistakes I made in that video. There were a lot of harsh things I said, but there's also a lot of things that I wish I have added in the first video. But what we're going to start off is we're going to talk about the PC part, which is that my PC couldn't run the beta, which is far from the truth. It could run the beta, but the thing is, from what a lot of people have been saying, is that the PC port was just really not good. That's something I really want to clear up about because I do have some footage of like raw gameplay that ran a little bit better than the online, and the TOKON devs themselves have said that they're going to be looking into it, and to the PC players, you know, they've received the message and they're like, you know what, we're going to try and fix this as soon as we can, which is kind of cool, but also kind of like, why did you wait like 2 weeks before launch, man? This is something that I wanted also to talk about, but I didn't get a chance to tell you guys in my last video, was that this beta should have not been done like 2 weeks before the game. It should have been done like right after the final like team was revealed, or also like maybe somewhere sooner. But I guess the real reason was because they didn't want to get anything data mined, and I think that's the real reason why this TOKON beta was such a not a pleasant experience for the PC players, you know. And you know, if it was just me, right, if I just had like the bad experience on my end on my PC, yeah, I would absolutely take down the video. But I think it serves well for other references too, because I was not the only one, and that's the thing that kind of irked me when I saw some comments, and also like just some like Twitter and like Instagram stuff, was that people were like saying, oh well, if your PC can't run it, why do you give it the chance, or all that stuff. And a part of me does kind of regret taking it on the PC. I wish I had just downloaded my PS5. That is the big regret. That's a big blunder on my end, which is being super impatient and just having just record it off my PC, because I'm more about convenience. I want to record it off my OBS. But that's also something that I really wanted to talk about, was that how come when it came to other Arc System Works game, like everything you've seen on my channel, like Grand Blue, DNF Duel, I think I've done Fighters and Strive. Maybe I've done Strive. I know I did XRF too, and they're all great. They all run like perfectly fine. It's just that when it was on TOKON, there was a reason why it was running really bad. And you know, we can all tell each other, okay, your specs wasn't good, all that stuff, all the graphics card. Why didn't you try and fix it? Well, the thing is, I did try to fix it, but that's the thing that a lot of people were complaining about, and it wasn't just me. I'm pretty sure it was a lot of other people, which is why I gathered like reactions from like around Twitter and stuff, because Twitter or social media, you know, as much as I don't like sleuthing around social media, there is a lot of usefulness towards it, which you'll see right here. I'm just gonna cycle through like a bunch of like pictures, maybe while I'm talking or not talking, while you guys can like pause, you know, and read about it, or just like see what's going on. But yeah, like I said, it's not just a me issue. It really was more of like a PC and more of a PlayStation or Sony, and on TOKON's part, you know, like I said, that's something I did want to clear up, was that, you know, I think I was giving a little bit too much harsh criticism, and like I wasn't being really fair to it, because at the end of the day, the beta, like I said before in my previous video, was that, you know, the reason why they have betas is so they can start fixing stuff right away, or just see what needs to be fixed. You know, aside from the gameplay and mechanics thing, which is something I'm going to get into a little bit later on the video, I think the more important thing about when it comes to like a beta or product is that you want to have something that actually is a good product, not something that's going to be like really shitty when you buy it, and you're going to try to like configure and all this stupid shit, and you're like, oh okay, so I wasted $60 on something that wasn't bad, that wasn't good. But yeah, I guess that's one thing I wanted to clear up, was that it wasn't just me that had like a bunch of PC stuff, and I do have a high-end PC. I mean, I got it built like around like 2021. It does have some older specs, but it could run like a lot of stuff really perfectly. And I wasn't the only one that had like really bad experiences with it. And I think most of the people that I am going to show in the video do have like a negative opinion on TOKON, but there are also a lot of people that I'm going to showcase that do have a positive opinion on TOKON, but they've also recognized like the PC part of it, which isn't good, you know. So much so that it was like a meme, you know. It was a meme across social media just for that weekend, that the PC port was just really bad. You know, I think you even saw like Giuna from Anime Illuminati. You know, he really liked the beta, but he said that, man, that PC port's got to get fixed, man. And there was like this funny little like meme Vine that, or a Vine, I mean like a YouTube short or TikTok that I saw by this creator that I thought was really funny. But yeah, that's just something I wanted to clear up about the PC beta. And like I said, you know, if this game was really like meant to be like played on just the PS5, I think they would have just allowed it just to be on PS5. But they clearly want the PC players, and I really do feel for the people that don't want to like support Sony or all this stuff, but they want to play the game. That's also like another entire conversation by itself. But yeah, man, like if this was made to be for the PC, dude, it needs to be optimized properly, and it's not just on our end. On our end, I get it, you know, we gotta have like the good specs, but also it goes to like Sony and Arc to like fix that up too.
Oh boy, the Marvel TOKON beta's out. I can't wait to play it on my PC. Alright, here we go!
And moving on, I'm going to show like some footage of me trying to attempt a tutorial. Like I said, the PC was probably not the best way to do it. That's also something that didn't do me any favors, didn't do my video any favors especially. I kind of just wish I just went back and just recorded on my PS5. Also, sorry if you don't hear the AC blasting on the mic anymore. But yeah, besides the point, yeah, I tried my best to even get it optimized, and I took up the audio from these recordings. I'm like, I was way too harsh on this part of the audio, and I didn't want to keep it in there, so I was like, you know what, maybe I'll just keep this just in case. And I'm glad I did too, because I really didn't think I was going to do a follow-up to the Marvel TOKON video. But it's something that I tried to fix, like even on the options in like display mode, and like maybe try to do it in game, but it was really nothing you could really do, which is also something you saw in the press, like tweets or X, whatever you've seen. That like I really wanted to cement this idea that okay, it wasn't just me having like a bad time with the PC beta. But then again, like I said, I really wish it was recorded on my PS5, because I do have the means to play it on my PS5. I guess I had like this like, you know, this unspoken pride of not wanting that on my console. But going forward, I think when something like this happens again, I'm really gonna have to try and just capture it on like the better console, just a better place to like have it more how do I say it, optimized, you know. But you can see it here, like even on the menus it starts running a little bit better. It like dips up and down in quality, but the real reason was because, like other people have found out, it's trying to run like anti-cheats, it's trying to compile all the shaders, it has so much stuff running in the background that you're like, you know what, I don't even know what to do. And the TOKON, like Twitter themselves have tried to like tell a lot of people like how to fix it and stuff, but like you can tell right here it's starting to look a little bit better, but also it's trying to like render some of the stuff. And like I said, it'll dip in and out in quality. And I guess also what didn't do me any favors was that I rendered this in DaVinci Premiere, what is it called? DaVinci, not Premiere Pro, but it's the video editor that's kind of free to use. If you have the free to use version, you're not going to have like any good like frames per second, which is something that was a blunder on my end. Was rendering it in DaVinci on the free mode and not like the, you know, like the paid like good one that doesn't skip any frames. But here I'm gonna try and like render this on iMovie with like a better frame rate. But like I said, this wasn't something that it was just like on my end, you know. Looking back on my video, I do, like I said, I do wish it was back on PS5. But here, you know, seeing that this is my footage, this is just how it looks like when it's not running online, and like when it's not like having so much shit like trying to like process in the background of the game. But yeah, that was something I really want to clear up. Yeah, it was my blunder. I really, you know what, like I said, I'll take the fault. I really wish I just recorded it on my PS5. But at the same time, I think this footage works well because it needs to show like Arc and Sony that, man, they really got to optimize this PC thing too. And like I said, it's not just on our end that we got to have like a higher, good, better specs. You know, I run other Arc games that are similar to this game. Yeah, and a lot of modern games on my PC, and it's not like it's like a beast, you know, especially since it's like almost like 6 years old. But it could run like a lot of Arc games, especially Granblue, really well. But that's something that I need to get talking about into a little bit later. But as you can see right here with the gameplay, I did try to do the tutorial, but I feel like the tutorial was not as good, especially since I was trying to like render and like process the whole game while, you know, doing this. But yeah, I'm here testing out. I'm testing out the tag, the switch, even, you know, I'm even trying out like characters that I don't normally think I would like Star-Lord or Storm or Kamala Khan. Storm and Captain America more so, because, well, I think these are the default characters you play with anyway, that you choose the team for you. But with like Storm and Captain America, you know, I have that legacy idea of their moveset, you know, and I think that was something that was unfair on my end to like not try and not to compare them to. But when it comes to like a 2D hyper fighter like Marvel game, you know, with like assists and combos and all this stuff, you expect it to like at least somewhat play like MVC. You know, it's a hard reality, but it's also like a harsh truth. Is that even when it comes to casuals and non-casuals, you're gonna expect to have to like some have some MVC type you know, gimmicks in here. You know, at the very least. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I see why mine was kind of super harsh, because I had that bitterness of this game even existing in the back of my mind, and I think I was pretty unfair. Like I wouldn't let that go throughout there, but yeah, I really did try to learn like the mechanics. You know, like the whole like, you know, team scramble thing. You know, it's kind of like the like a counter ultra instinct. I'm trying to learn like the assist, and I'm trying to learn like the you know, like the supers and stuff. And here I am trying Kamala Khan, and like you can see, I'm trying to do the down, medium, into heavy launcher with the and like I said, it's almost like a universal bread and butter for each character. This is when the PC was trying to run a little bit like not as good. But yeah, like I said, you can say, and which is something that I want to get in a little bit later, is that, in my opinion, it still feels homogenized. You know, each character has their special moves and stuff. But you can pretty much do like basically almost everything with the same character, especially when it comes to air combos, you know. And that's something that I saw later down the line, which I'll show like maybe like a picture of too, is that there's a lot of people that are just like not vibing with that. You know, it markets itself as a 4v4 fighter, but you can also just get by with just doing like one character with one assist, because most of the time around the beginning of the game, you're probably not going to be unlocking the assist until you do something crazy in the game, which is like an auto combo, the like scramble thing, or like you're going to be like driving someone towards the wall and then your character gets to come in and say, I'm ready. That's something I see that's probably not going to change in the beginning, because they really want to cement themselves as being something different. Like I get a lot of stuff here. Also here I'm trying to do wave dashes with Storm, and you know, like I'm really playing it like I'm trying to do Marvel stuff, which is, you know, the idea of that just came into like a little bit later as I was doing this. I was like, okay, you know what, this is not Marvel. And like I said, it's hard to try and not compare this game with it, especially since it has that legacy skill. And I've done comments where I say I don't think it's far fetched to like not expect, you know, Marvel versus Capcom stuff here, because it's very heavily influenced it. You know, it's very heavy influenced it, and you know, to a casual speaker, you know, MVC is not that niche of a fighting game. It's actually probably like a really popular fighting game. And when a casual will see this and they don't know like who makes the game, they're gonna be like, oh, this is a MVC type game that has no Capcom, but it's just all Marvel. Oh, but when I press like when I choose all four of my characters, I don't even get to play them as all four, and then they have rounds and stuff, which is something that's completely new for like hyper fighters or like tag fighters in this. I guess aside from like Skullgirls, where you're playing 1v1 and there's like rounds and stuff. But yeah, you can definitely tell right here. This is what I think. Like I said, didn't do my video or like my impressions any favors. That I wish I have added this in my initial video. But to say that I didn't even try and attempt to learn the game is like, I guess it was a blunder on my end, because I think I should have shown this part, but just like re-edit the audio, because audio here, man, dude, if you can hear what I was saying during this gameplay, dude, I was ripping this game a new one, unfairly so. But at the same time, it's like I really did try to learn like a little bit of everybody, but not a little bit of everybody, a little bit of what they gave me and what I could do here. But I just could not vibe with the game at all. You can call it speed, or like the, you know, the not inclusivity, but like the accessibility of it, which is something that I thought was just super lackluster. Like it really does feel homogenized, man. Like I think a lot of people hate it when I say that, you know, especially since it's not like a fun word to throw around when it comes to fighting games, but I think since like a lot of the modern art games do kind of feel like that, I think it's super easy to say that. You know, everyone basically has a typical like easy air combo bread and butter. It's something that I learned from like fighters like almost like a decade ago, and I can still like continue to do that here. Which is like I said, it's unfair to try and like compare this with fighters and stuff, but knowing that this is the Arc System Works like developed Marvel game, this of course is gonna feel like an Arc game, but it's also like trying to mix like stuff from MVC. And when people bring up the conversation where like this is trying to be a homage and trying to be its own game, I think it has an identity crisis, and I think when the game itself is trying to like fight its own identity with its like legacy before the like before this game, it's kind of like hard to like not put that together. I think when it comes to saying like an homage to like older games, that's something I would reserve it for like Dragon Ball Fighters or like Power Rangers, because you know what? It's its own game. I can complain about not having push block or not having like the the team hyper combos and shit, and I can complain about like the combos not feeling like super fast. But at the end of the day, Power Rangers and Dragon Ball Fighters are its own thing, and if this was really like trying to be its own thing or trying to like make it like feel different, which of course they're trying their hardest to be, we would try to like we would just make it like a different IP. Maybe you could have used Image Comics, but the Marvel IP is what what's doing a lot of heavy lifting for this game. But it's also how do I say this? It's also what's holding this game back, because people are going to be saying, there are a lot of casuals going to be coming from like Marvel vs. Capcom Collection or MVC3 or MVCI, and they're going to be like, well, how come I can't just like use all 4 of my characters? Why do I have to do rounds and stuff? Why market this to be a 4v4 fighter if I have to unlock them while I'm playing the game? Also, it's like they're doing air combos and hyper combos and stuff, but at the same time, it's like it's trying to be its own thing, but it's still using legacy and like skills from other games, and it's using like basically what was like the universal appeal of like Marvel vs. Capcom games, which is like the air combos, the crazy like launchers and all that stuff. I think that's something that I guess in my end it was unfair to try and compete it with Marvel vs. Capcom, but it's also not far fetched to like the typical casual gamer that like doesn't know much about like the differences of fighting games, that they just play like Mortal Kombat and like Tekken, and then they like eventually play like Street Fighter and MVC, and then they pick up this game. They don't really know that much about Guilty Gear, and they're like, wow, this is not MVC. I know it's its own thing, but like it really feels like something that I kind of I'm just trying to put my trying to be in their shoes and trying to like see it from a different perspective. But like I said, just the fact that it's a Marvel Hyper Fighter like with tag components, I don't think it's far-fetched to like trying not to compare them, because I think basically everyone that was trying this game come from all different walks of like gaming. That there's that big like thing in the back of your head where like if this was truly trying to be its own thing and try to not like use like legacy movesets, why didn't we just change the IP? It should have just been like Image Comics or Dark Horse Comics. But of course, the Marvel IP is what brings in people to want to play this game, and I don't doubt that, because Marvel is probably like one of the biggest IPs out there. Arc System Works got Fighters. I think the only thing that comes close to rivaling like Marvel right now, like aside from DC, is like the manga like Dragon Ball Fighters, not Dragon Ball in general is what rivals this. But at the same time, like I said, this is, in my opinion, is what holds it back, because people are still going to be expecting, regardless if you want it or not, they're still going to be expecting MVC type combos, MVC type like feel, and it's just like the whole like thing in general is just going to be something that's like a big white elephant in the room. So yeah, excuse my overheating MacBook, and also excuse my AC that I was blasting in the beginning. But like I said, I don't think it's super far-fetched. But the thing what I will get into is that, like I said, I do like parts of this game, which what I've played, even though regardless I said I'm not going to like get into it. The thing I can really praise this game is that at least when it's trying to be different, it does try to be different, especially adding characters that we haven't like seen in like the most modern, or we haven't seen in MVC at all. Of course, you're gonna have your Captain America, your Iron Mans, your Spider Mans, but when it comes to like Black Panther, they added Shuri, they added Magic, Danger, Penny Parker, and Green Goblin. I think Green Goblin is like the standout character, because I've always wanted Green Goblin in like a like a hyper fighter, of course made by Capcom, but at the same time it's like I commend him for not trying to be MVC, but like I said, same thing. The whole tag fighter Marvel IP thing is still gonna be like a big white elephant in the room. But there's something that I do want to take away, is that I do appreciate the art style, and I don't think I'll ever be able to like talk down about the art style. I also like that the blue like borders around the thing is like the making of a comic book. If you guys are like into like art and stuff, that's how they used to make comic books in the 90s, with like the big blue sketches and stuff, and the blue like layout on the pages, because when you scan the pages like for like print, they're not gonna, the blue doesn't capture in like the camera and stuff, and it was really easier for it to print. But at the same time, like I said, It's just hard to like try and like split that apart. I think regardless of whatever you think, that's still like the big white elephant in the room. I think another part of my video that I'm probably not proud of also going back was just trying to see how petty I could be by even the username being called MVC is better. I think that was pretty funny, but at the same time I can see how people can take it the wrong way and like how like snarky and petty that is too. And also at the same time it's also like even though I'm trying to learn all these like type of combos and special attacks, what I was doing online was basically just trying to win. And I just wanted to show most of the people that I really wish this game did have more like depth to it, but it's just hard to find it, especially if you're just trying to win. The biggest idea of any fighting game is that you're just trying to win and find the most optimal version of it. But if I'm gonna try and do all these Fortnite checklists, start grabbing people, like throwing them against the wall and shit, and trying to like tag them out and stuff. Why would I do that if I can just be Iron Man Unibeam the whole time? Maybe have like a one good Magneto assist and just do my typical easy bread and butter combo. And the only time I would switch out was like when I was fighting against a Shuri. I used Wolverine to be more rushdown. And at the same time, I was basically doing the same thing that I was doing with Iron Man, just just doing basic fighting game punishes and combos, and waiting for not the character, waiting for the opponent to like not to be punishable, and then I was just gonna punish them with that. But like I said, at the same time, it's something that I think in order for Tokon to be like its own thing, it needs to find a way to it needs to find a way to differentiate itself. If you really want to like stop like the whole MVC and like thing, it needs to do things by itself. But at the same time, it's like it's not catering to what people want it to be. And what I'm saying about that is that we can get into like speeds or mechanics and all that stuff, but at the same time, it's like if you're gonna market yourself as a 4v4 fighter, you should probably have that like in the beginning. And if you want to like stop the whole TOD, Kusuge, whatever called those type of games that are like just like TOD like heaven, you have 4 characters there. Like why isn't there like a mechanic where, oh maybe since this Ghost Rider is like destroying me and he's doing TODs and resets, why can't I just give up 2 assist bars and 2 assist Magneto and Iron Man to like come in and do a combo breaker? That way I don't get TODs like the whole game. Especially since you gotta like manage your resources a lot more in this game than I do think in MVC, because you only have 1 life bar and then like a few rounds and you're like, dude, this is like this is something that's insanely crazy to me, and I thought I was the only one experiencing it. But like you can absolutely get by with just learning 1 character, and like it almost feels like the other characters just don't really matter, And like I said, I was just doing optimal like fighting game knowledge and stuff, and I just really wanted to win, trying to make sure not to get near the wall, trying to make sure to grab and stuff, and try and do air combos and doing an OTG and stuff. But it's like if you really want like people from other games to like come and enjoy this game, which I'm not saying it needs to appeal to, because maybe other people coming in already have their opinion on it. It needs to feel a little bit more different, because if you're just gonna be like looking for the basic same stuff, you can just get by with 1 character, and there's no point in even like doing the 4v4. I think I even started thinking, I was like, man, does this game even need to be like 4v4? It almost feels like this game was supposed to be like Guilty Gear, Marvel Superheroes, like Marvel Superheroes game, like playing more like Guilty Gear. Like I think it could almost get away with like just being a 1v1 fighter, especially with the rounds. But maybe this is just like speculation. This is just like theory crafting on my end. But maybe someone higher up at Marvel was like, well, the last people that made it were 3v3. Could you up the ante and make it like 4v4? And Arc is like, okay, we can try, but like how are we going to try and make it like accessible, super in-depth, casual, friendly, but also have the 4v4 aspect? But if you don't want to learn 4v4, you can learn 1 character. Like that's what I'm saying, that this kind of game is having an identity crisis within itself. And you can say we only had 3 days to play the game, but the fact that a lot of people just don't know how to generally play the game in general is just like it's something that leaves a lot to be desired. But yeah, like I said, my blunder was not showing all this stuff. Even when the game was rendering a little bit better, I should have showed a lot more of this stuff. I think the last thing I also wanted to clarify too, which is a part on my end, which was calling a lot of the people that were hyping this game shills. I think that's also like a kind of like a big word to throw around. I still have to take responsibility on what I said. But to clarify, when I was talking about shills, I don't mean to talk about like the people like that genuinely like this game and that aren't getting paid to like showcase this game and that weren't getting flown out. I think that's just the general majority of like the people here. I absolutely understand that I am not like in the majority of people that are like, uh, I guess in a way negatively talking about this game, but at the same time, it's like I know I'm probably part of the minority of people that are not excited for this game, and like I said, it's not for me. Um, but the surprising thing was that when you saw like the tweets and stuff, I was not the only one that didn't feel this way. I think even pro players like from previous games felt this way too. But at the same time, going back to like the the shield part, I think that is a pretty heavy word. And when I was talking about that in my last video, I didn't mean to say it as like the people that enjoyed this game like genuinely. I meant to like the higher upper echelon content creators that you can tell that get a lot of special privileges and a lot of different builds on this game. And yeah, that was on my part. I didn't really mean to not offend anybody, but I was really trying to like show like a more bitter side of like content creation side, which is something I normally don't do. There's two things I normally try not to like bring in my content, which is like I'd say for lack of a better term for the general wide theme is like politics. I don't like to bring in like stuff from like the real world when it comes to like gaming. There's a time and place for that. But also I think what was out of character for me, because usually like if you've seen me for years, I don't really like taking jabs at like bigger content creators and stuff. I think for me that just was what kind of irked me, was because I thought, in my opinion, from what I see, I think a lot of super big content creators are pretty I guess in a way they're not very genuine, and I guess they kind of ham up a lot of stuff. Like I said, that's my opinion. You never know. Maybe the big high content creators are like above like everybody when it comes to fighting game. Maybe they do genuinely enjoy this game and they really do hype it up and shit. But like I said, I think that was something that was really out of character on my end. But I do understand. I take responsibility in what I say and what I put out there. But yeah, when it comes to people that actually genuinely enjoy Tokon, and like I'll never talk down to them. That's one thing I don't like to do, especially nowadays, because I remember I used to shit talk a lot of fandoms back in the day when it came to like when I was like an Instagram like artist and stuff. I would genuinely talk shit about a lot of people on like my Instagram stories and stuff. And I since stopped that, and I learned just to critique the media itself and not like the people or like the fans about it. So one thing you'll never see me do is like to the general audience of Tokon, I'm never gonna like try and like say that they're like how do I say it? I'm never gonna try and take jabs at the fandom in general, but I think when it comes to me, it's more or so like the bigger, higher up content creators. But I don't want to cause any drama. Like I doubt any of the big content creators are even listening to my opinions, especially since like the video I did wasn't really that good, showing off like the bad PC build. But at the same time, I can absolutely understand why some people who were enjoying the game can absolutely take offense to that, because it does sound like I was mentioning them, but it really wasn't mentioning them. It was more about like the people that have more, I guess, media privilege when it comes to like early builds of this game. And like I said, how could someone in the general population like us know the difference of the speeds between the game? It's like when people were talking about like 2x KO tier lists. They were making tier lists before the game even came out to like the general like player base, and it's like, well, what's the point of this, man? I don't even know what you're talking about. And the game just now came out like for the general audience for us for like 2 weeks ago, and like it's almost near launch. And for the sake of this game, as a consumer, I really do hope that this game is fixed before people buy it. I have seen people say that they're going to cancel pre-orders, and I know I've seen a lot of people saying that they don't like the gameplay and stuff, because a lot of like the higher up content creators were saying like all this good stuff, and then when they finally get to play it, they don't like it. And there's a lot of players, which I'm glad it wasn't just me, were saying that they didn't like it either. So there's got to be some truth to that. It's like when you hear IGN give like positive reviews on Halo campaign Evolved, and now when the game just now became accessible for everybody on Game Pass, and who just now got the game, they're finding bugs and crazy shit and like stuff that they don't like, and like subpar and really bad cutscenes and stuff. That's when you really need to generate your own opinion. And like I said in my last video, it's not like it's titled people hate Tokon, or MVC community hates Tokon, or MVC player hates Tokon. No, the title of the video is Rick doesn't like Marvel Tokon. Shocking, It's a sarcastic title saying that of course I wouldn't like it. But to close out this thing, man, it was a video that I'm gonna like look back into, yeah, for good and for bad. But most of the most like big purpose of the video was to do, you know, this thing of the bitter old man who's an MVC fan, you know, yells at Cloud, you know. Clearly this game wasn't really meant for someone like me who's a big MVC fan. I know there's going to be a lot of MVC fans who do like this game, and I'm not saying that I'm like the general consensus when it comes to this game. But it's just, in my opinion, it's something I wanted to do because, you know, it's a damn if you do and damn if you don't type of video. Like, what if I never gave this game a chance? People are still going to say, like, oh, you're just a Marvel versus Capcom show. Why? How could you even have an opinion if you're not even going to give it a chance? But also, it's like, a damn if I did video, you know, it's like, oh, you did give it a chance. You're just trying to compare it to MVC. You really wanted to be something else. It's like, you know, there really is no winning to this, but it's just like an opinion piece that I wanted to get out there. But yeah, I think that was just a follow on what I wanted to show off on this video. I think it's worth saying. I wanted to clear a lot of stuff up because I was, I guess for lack of a better term, I wasn't offended, but I was like kind of like getting a little bit defensive on like comment sections in other videos and on Twitter and even in my own video. But at the same time, it's like, I think I need to respond to this just because I think the last video needed to have like a touch up, you know. It's something that I think needed to be clarified. I still stand by a lot of the opinions in my videos, but there's some stuff I do need to like be like, okay, I'm not gonna walk it back, but I am gonna like try and like, you know, apologize or clear some things up because I was really fucking bitter in the video, and I guess that's just like a thing on my end. I really try to ham it up and try to like, you know, try to make like a bit of it, but I guess it turned out to look more malicious than it originally was, and I think even I came off as snarky in some of the comment section. But yeah, that's usually not something that I do. I know going forward I'm probably just not gonna like do like the whole like personal jabs and all that shit, because that's something that I really don't think it like really fits in the channel, you know. And it's rich coming from someone that was like saying I was giving DOA 6 a little bit more leeway than this game, even though this is a brand new game. Coming from the consumer side of my brain, if I were to tell you guys to buy one of the other product, of course I would 100% tell you to buy like Tokon, because this is a brand new game, and like of course I want more people playing DOA 6. But like with all the practices and all the tomfoolery that DOA 6 is happening, you know, of course I wouldn't recommend it. It's an old game trying to resell you DLC and like over expensive outfits. But in this game, you know, it's something brand new that you can even out the playing field. But personally, like I said, the game isn't for me, and it's just a video that I wanted to make to show to you guys that you know, like I said before, it wasn't for me, but it was something that I wanted to make because I didn't want to have that in the back of my mind of like, oh, I didn't even give the game a chance. So what's the point of even like having an opinion on it? But showing that I did have an opinion on it, I came off as a little bit more bitter and a little bit like more I want to say tone deaf, but I think it wasn't like as good of a video that I could have done. Am I disappointed on myself on the video? Probably not super disappointed. I feel like I still had, you know, was able to tell what I wanted to say, but at the same time, I at least have like my own like opinion on it. You know, I'm trying not to like get influenced by outside influences and stuff and outside opinions, but at the same time, like I said, it's something that has to be a little bit more nuanced than that. And I think I even closed my last video saying that please get more opinions or like look at other people talk about this game. It's something that you have to make a decision on yourself if you want this game or not. You know, you've seen how people were like disappointed with the PC beta, which hopefully they get it fixed, and I think I showed in the beginning of the video that they are going to get it fixed hopefully by the time it launches. But at the same time, I wouldn't recommend buying like a bad optimized product, especially when it wasn't just me having that issue. A lot of people were having that issue, and at the same time, if what I said really does try and affect your mood when it comes to this game, I would say, you know, look at other people that do enjoy this game, that had the game running better and that had more fun enjoying this game, because one opinion shouldn't like deter you from buying this game. It sucks that it didn't run well on PC, and it should be running well on the Steam Deck, because most modern fighting games do run on Steam Deck, but it's just it has a lot of shit like rendering in the background. But like I said, get opinions from all across different like points of view, and then make a judgment for yourself. But the most important thing is play the game yourself, and if you want to get the game, buy it, and don't let anyone stop you from playing or enjoying like a fighting game. The last thing I want is for people to be turned off from fighting games, but also the last thing I also want is to be someone who influences other people's opinions on it, even though like it just kind of comes with the territory of content creation, you know. I think I've even seen that happen a lot when I was like on Instagram. I was just shitting on the game when it first revealed, and a lot of people were saying, "Whoa, man, why are you shitting on the game? The game looks hype, looks cool, and stuff." And then I kept doing that like throughout the time they were revealing stuff, and I think I came to a conclusion where it's like, damn, I guess MVC is just gonna be a long ways out of here. But at the same time, I was like, I've seen people change their minds. They were originally like super hyped about the game, and now they're like, oh well, I don't think I like the game, or I don't think I like the way it plays, or it's not for me. I'm like, damn, I in some way I feel responsible for that part where like people are like, oh shit, they're changing their opinion in the game. I'm like, damn, I think this is kind of like the power of like influencing people, I guess, for lack of a better term, because you know we're like, what's it called, an internet influencer. But at the same time, it's like I don't want people to be turned off from something that they look like they were interested into, and then they're like, oh well, since he said it and it looks bad and he's comparing it to the other thing, maybe I'll just not check it out. I really don't want that happening for like other people. Like I said, what I do on my channel is basically what I do, what I would do when I'm like playing a game with like my friend or my family. I want to show you like my favorite stuff. I want to show you my house stuff, and I want to show you my opinions. But the last thing I want is for people to be like, oh well, you said it plays like shit, it looks like shit, and I'm not gonna buy it. I'm like, no, you should probably buy it yourself and have your own opinion. This is just more of like what I want to make and what I want to convey. You know, if that were the case, could you imagine me not playing Overwatch for all the people that were like constantly shit on the game, constantly like talk down on it, even have friends and family members saying how like this fucking game is stupid and shit. But I'm having fun. I could give a shit less about what people are saying about Overwatch, and that should be the same mentality that people should be having when it comes to this type of game or any other game in general. Like I said, please make your own decision, make your own opinions, and have your own experiences. What I said is my opinion. It's not general fact about like the overall opinion of other people, and that's the thing that kind of makes this channel also a little bit better. Is that you're not going to see a lot of people like, you know, have the same opinion. I think I like the differences in opinion. But yeah, that's all I really want to clear up. Thank you guys for watching for this piece of video. I know it wasn't like the best rendered video, and there was a lot of like stuff in the background on the mic, but at the same time it's something I really want to clear up. Like I said, going forward in the next like past this Tokon stuff, we're going to try and have more fun with the channel again. You know, I don't crank out content as much as I used to, which I do wish I can get back to, but I'm going to be going back to some DOA. Maybe I'm going to try a new multiplayer game that I've been having a lot of fun with. I kind of want to show that off too. But yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed. And like I said, you know, make your own opinions and make your own observations. And don't let me stop you from enjoying a game that I didn't like, but maybe you will. So, as always, take care, Warriors. And until next time, I await your return. Goodbye and take care.